over 4,000 employees. More than 23,000 kilometers of high-voltage lines and cables. Between 110 and 380 kilovolt in electricity transmissions. And until 2029, about 35 billion euros in investments. All of this to serve one purpose: making sure that for more than 41 million end users in the Netherlands and a large part of Germany, the electricity grid is maintained at 50 Hertz. We just take it for granted. A cup of coffee from the coffee maker, frying an egg to start the day with, and a quick look on the tablet for the latest news. All these everyday devices run on electricity, but can we take it for granted that the electricity flows from the socket? The electricity that you and I receive at home comes from all over the place. Power stations, wind farms, and solar parks. These electricity generators are everywhere, not only in the Netherlands and Germany. The many electricity generators scattered across Europe produce a daily total average of 8.4 million megawatts, sufficient to supply all of Europe with electricity. This poses a major challenge for the grid operators, and so for TenneT too, distributing all this generated electricity safely across all households. This is possible because all over Europe, the high-voltage grid is based on a 50 Hz frequency. This means that electricity is pushed onto the high-voltage grid with a frequency of 50 times per second. The frequency of all electrical devices we use is 50 Hz. If the voltage on our high-voltage grid is not exactly 50 Hz, the devices will not work properly. Therefore, it is essential that the voltage is always 50 Hz. You can compare this with driving in a hilly area, where the maximum speed limit is 50 km per hour. When you drive up the hill, you press down the accelerator to retain your speed. When you drive down the hill, you ease the pressure on the accelerator so you will not drive any faster. In other words, it is a continuous process. It is the same with 50 Hz, for supply and demand always vary. There are tens of thousands of electricity generators across Europe. They have to increase or decrease their pressure on the accelerator, depending on the amount of electricity we all use. TenneT has the task to keep the car at a speed of 50 km per hour exactly, that is, to keep our high-voltage grid at 50 Hz. This involves quite a few challenges. With renewable energy sources emerging, the supply of electricity becomes more and more valuable. Think about wind turbines, which turn one day and do not turn on another day when there is no wind. In the TenneT control room, we are continuously working on anticipating these surges and lows, 24 hours per day, 365 days per year. A group of experts ensures that the balance of 50 Hz is maintained. To ensure that these operations are trouble-free, we at TenneT continuously analyze and innovate, installing new connections, maintenance of existing connections, and upgrading or replacing old connections. We make this huge effort so that electricity from the socket remains something we can take for granted, with a security of supply of 99.99%. This is how we realize the availability of electricity you can rely on at every moment of the day. TenneT, taking power further.